Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. I thank, first of all, I want to thank Thibaut for inviting me to this Pontic webinar that he's been doing for some time now, and I'm really glad to be able to present some of my results of the research on the Roman army, veterans, and all the topics related to this issue in what it's currently called Scythia Minor, which in fact it's only a part of a larger area. But as you probably know very well, it is attested as such by writers like Strabo already from the time of Augustus. Why I choose to limit my research to and to present now only to this part of a larger province, as you are about to see. It's obviously the number of the epigraphic information, which if I was about to speak on this matter on the scale of the province of Lower Moesia, it would have been something like too large. And second, it's as you also you're about to see, there are some specific traits of this region, this northeastern region of Lower Moesia. This specific trace would eventually lead at the establish of a later Roman province named Scythia after or during the reign of Diocletian or the time of the Tetrarchy, as you already know. So already from the Roman time, it was pretty clear that this region has some specific traits that somehow differentiate it from the other part of the province. For those of you which are not who are not so familiar with the region we are talking about, I put here a larger map just to show to you where exactly it is located. This Scythia, it's here, as you can follow. Probably you can follow my mouse here, and as you can see from this earlier map, it is an area that only step by step became part of the Roman Empire, and Roman military units were deploying in the field. As you can see, you have this snapshot from more or less the time between 15 and 46 AD. And you can see very well that there were in that moment the province of Moesia only on the territory of nowadays more or less Serbia and North Macedonia. And in the eastern part, as you can see, where it is written here, Regnum Thraciae, and obviously in the area of nowadays Dobrogea of Scythia Minor, this territory belongs to the kingdom of Thrace, established by Augustus sometime after the year 11 BC. Just to have now a closer look at the area that we are interested in. As you can see here are the limits of the province of Moesia Inferior, including that which is now laying on the territory of Bulgaria, but also, as you can see, also here there are here is the Scythia Minor with the main with the main sites, the Roman sites, mostly of them, as you are about to see, military forts and fortresses, some of the civilian settlements like Tropeum Traiani or Ribida, and the former Greek colonies on the Black Sea, which continued. They were also included into in the Roman Empire step by step, but this is now today. This will not be the topic of my paper. What is astonishing for this narrow, I would say, region, it's, as you can see here, the large number of attested settlements. As I mentioned already, most of them military ones. But as you can see also in this map that I taken from an older publication, also some rural ones. Many of them, as you can see, distribute both in relationship with this western part of the area on the so-called ripa Thraciae, on the where all the Roman military units were settled, but also in somewhere in the interior, and also as you can see on the western shore of the Black Sea. I think that this is also something to do with this large attestation, I would say, of this auxiliary of these rural settlements, which mostly, leaving aside the archaeological remains, mostly of them are only attested epigraphic, are related to the to a objective, I would say, situation. As you know very well, this area was heavily destroyed at the middle of the 3rd century AD. It was on the way of the barbarian attacks on the lower Moesia, starting with more or less 250, let's say, in this way, and obviously. Mostly or all of the military forts on the limes were destroyed. Some of the cities on the Black Sea were also destroyed, and after this tragic situation of the Roman Empire ended by the time of Emperor Aurelian, large-scale reconstruction began here. And this reconstruction is attested that has been done in a very, I would say, rapid period, very quickly, and they simply used all the type of materials that they have by their hand. Obviously, they just go around the city and they found a lot of these stones mentioning settled sometime in the religious area, sometimes somewhere in the settlement, and all of them, or mostly, were discovered, in fact, reused in these late Roman ramparts of various settlements, like it is the case of Histria, like it is the case of Ibida, like it is the case of Ulmetum, the same with Halmiris, and so on. So when by the half of the 19th century, and in the second half of the 19th century, when the archaeologists began their excavation exactly following that the method of those days, exactly on these ramparts, obviously that they found during the excavation a lot of inscription on these blocks which were reused. So I would say that obviously comparing to other parts of even of Lower Moesia province, but also with other parts of the Danubian provinces of the empire, this large attestation of rural settlements, epigraphic one, it seems to me that has something to do exactly with this, I would say, double luck, one or unluck. One is that all these settlements, which were obviously open, were practically destroyed at the middle of the 3rd century, Some of them, they were rebuilt in the form of a late Roman fortress, and this late Roman fortress used some of the stone material on which name of the rural settlements or other type of information were kept. So for this reason, we are lucky now to have such a I would say not large but important amount of epigraphic information into a, as you can see here, relatively narrow area of the empire. The second, it's obviously that this reconstruction, which was really do it at a large scale and even building fortresses or forts also in places where before, and when I say before, it is during the early Roman Empire, there were only open rural settlements. I will mention, for instance, because I will tackle today this area of Mihai Bravu or Ibida, which is, I would say, one of the most spectacular cases. Also Ulmetum, which has or had no ramparts, or there was no fortresses before. They were built as large fortresses at the end of the 3rd century, beginning of the 4th century. Why? It is obviously that when a little bit later, when Constantine decided to change a little bit the importance of the empire and building his new capital in Constantinople, as you can see very well, this area was in fact one of the very first line of defense of the imperial capital itself. So these are the I would say, from my point of view, the reasons why we are so lucky to have so many information. There is nothing that I would say it's particular or outstanding from the point of from the Roman point of view. It's outstanding from the point of view of our knowledge, because as the objective situation on the field lead to that. For instance, if you go to I don't know, to the Museum of History, outside you will see a lot of inscription mentioning two rural sites from the territory of Histria, Vicus Secundine and Vicus Quintionis. There are a lot of inscription. Obviously, all of them, and there it is clear that all of them were reused in the late Roman ramparts of the city of Histria. So maybe now you can have a better understanding of the situation. Now, returning to my point, it's as you are about to see in this area of the province. I will go back. As you can see, the province itself, it is not very large, but it is located into an area that would need to be heavily defended, as it is practically one of the frontier province of the empire during the 1st century also, but also during the 2nd and 3rd century, since, as you can see very well, this area of the northern of the northern Danube was not part of the Roman province. So exactly on this area, one should be very very careful, and it should have been very well defended. So as you can see here, we have, for this, I would say, not very large province, an astonishing number of auxiliary units. That is before that the Trajan move into Dacia, and some of the northern frontier of the province was in this way secured by the making of the province of Dacia, and thereafter during Hadrian of the making of the Dacia inferior province, which it's practically nothing else but something like a prolongation of Moesia inferior into this old river valley, since all the units attested here after the year 118 were in fact taken from the garrison of the southern Danubian province. And around the year 99, when we have a lot of information from the military diplomas, you can see there a total number of together with the two legions, Prima Italica from Novae and Quinta Macedonica from Uscus, a number of around 26,000 Roman soldiers, not mention also the classes which had already had also some thousand soldiers, some thousand sailors. So I would say an important number. You have here all the attestation. I would not enter into details. As I mentioned, starting with already during the time of Trajan, but as a separate province only in the time of Hadrian, to the north, there were moved 3 ale and 9 cohorts. But since already during the time of Hadrian and also during the 2nd century AD, some of redeployment of the units are mentioned here. I will not mention directly. More or less, the number of attested amount of Roman soldiers into the province of Moesia Inferior was remaining pretty much the same, since obviously some of them they were deployed on the northern Danubian side, but other were redeployed in the province, and obviously, which is more important, another legion was brought from Germania Superior through Pannonia, and it was settled probably around the year 114 in Durostorum. It's the Legio Undecima Claudia Pia Fidelis. So, as you can see, one should expect, having such an important number of soldiers in the field, that obviously in the moment that when they were released from duty, most of them obviously became veterans, and most of them, or at least an important part, will remain or will stay in the area where they serve. They did not go back to the former original recruiting area. So starting with more or less the time of Trajan, important numbers and groups of veterans had to be settled somewhere in the area, obviously, or everyone by their own, they try to do a life after the 25 years of military service. And from this number of units, it's interesting enough to notice that we have, again, I would say that this has something to do again with this unluck and luck of the archaeological excavations, that from all the units attested in Lower Moesia by inscription and by especially by Roman military diplomas, we have for the information for their exact place where they build a fort or a fortress, exactly from this area, more or less, of Scythia Minor, of Dobrogea, because, as I mentioned, many of these inscriptions were reused also in the rebuilding of this late Roman fortification. So, as you can see from this number of 9 ale and 22 cohorts, leaving aside Transmarisca and Sexaginta Prista, and obviously Apiaria, Riahovo, all the others, as you can see here, are attested that they were located exactly in Dobrogea. And obviously, I would say that taking into consideration as this narrow area, we would have to say that starting with more or less Vespasian or Domitian, or certainly starting with Trajan, this narrow area was, or seems to me to have been, heavily militarized zone, obviously because it was exactly into this frontier area, also in to this Wallachian plain here, already populated by some Sarmatian tribes, already by the time of Emperor Nero. But more important, it's the fact that from here and through the connection with the Roman fleet and with some strategic points on the northern shore of the Black Sea, practically from here, all the area northern of the Black Sea was controlled and tried by the Romans to be kept safe. It's not necessary to remind you that exactly from that area the heavily invasions at the middle of the 3rd century began and simply wipe up the Roman presence for 2 or 3 decades, because as I mentioned, there is no place here where we don't have clear indication from the excavation that they were destroyed by the mid 3rd century. And moreover, comparing the deployment of the military units before the mid 3rd century AD and with the deployments of the military units during the later period, leaving aside the legions, which somehow survived or were rebuilt, there is no information that one of the auxiliary units from before survived into the end of the 3rd century and beginning of the 4th century to be later attested in list of units such Notitia Dignitatum and another type of sources. So this is another clear indication that, in fact, this province, and especially this part of the province, this Scythia Minor, was heavily destroyed by the Gothic invasions from the mid 3rd century. Now going to the that was I would say the introductory part, just to remind of some of you which were not so familiarized with my former works on the Roman army in Moesia Inferior, how many units and how heavily militarized this area was. And now going into, I would say, the main part of my talk this afternoon, the one related with the veterans. I choose, this is only to give you an example, and all of my reference today, there will be some choosing examples from a larger body of evidence, because obviously for this topic one could, and partially I already done that, one could write a book on the topic. But I choose this Roman military diploma copied after imperial constitution for the units in Syria, because it's one of the earliest. Is from 54 AD, and it was discovered somewhere in the territory of Durostorum. I will not enter now into details, and you can see this already shows another pattern of this area, first, if I already mentioned that mostly of the former Roman soldiers serving in the units from here, seems that they remain in the nearby of the fort, or they try to make a living in the province. It seems like a part of the natives of the area, among which obviously the largest one are the Thracians, had this pattern of returning to their homes after serving the Roman army. It is also the case of this Romaesta, the son of Rescentus, from this place name, from this his label himself at Spiurus, and this is a place name that it's later attested also by Procopius. So is not in fact it's the name of his, I would say, village or small settlement. And this shows to us that very early, it is 54 as I mentioned, veterans are attested in the area, and into an area that only few years before, because I will return back to the map. As I say, it is in the area of more or less Durostorum. This area before 46-47 AD was not even part of the empire. So when it was recruited, this soldier was in fact recruited from, let's say, outside of the empire, but in fact it was not outside of the empire, since this kingdom of Thrace was in fact built openly exactly this issue to provide Roman young soldiers to provide young soldiers for the Roman army, and this is also a pattern already known from literary sources such or in the first place Tacitus mentioning the two revolts from 21 and 26 AD, exactly because some of the tribalments, Thracian tribalments, were against this larger policy of Roman of recruiting exactly from among the Thracians. So when he was returning home in 54, this area was already part of the province, and obviously that he lived there up to the end of his life. The second, which I want to mention, is this copy after another Roman military diploma, after a series of a very well-known imperial constitution given to the former sailors of the Praetorian fleets. In this case, it's the case of Ravenna, who were involved during the civil war of 68 and 69, and they were on the same side of the gaining emperor, who was obviously Vespasian. And as you can see very well on this text, Vespasian tried to settle them in block in Pannonia. But it is obviously also from this case, but also from other attested cases of this series, as I mentioned, of diplomas. As you can see here, it's also mentioned a diploma from February 70. This is from 5th of April 71. So it was a mass release from duty because they were, as you can see here, they were brave in the war. He's obviously mentioning this civil war, and as you can see, this Thracian guy, this Tarsa, the son of Drusus, from the tribe of the Bessi, he chose not to go to Pannonia to receive probably there a plot of land, but he chose to come to Moesia and to settle probably in the area of, just to show you exactly, sorry, just don't worry, sorry, my mistake. To settle in the area, I go back here, of Mihai Bravu, because this diploma was found in this area of the future Vicus Bad, which I will talk about it. So already from that moment, the year 71, one could think, but also could have been other explanation that Trajan settled into this area. Obviously, that will reopen the discussion, the huge discussion that it has been in the mostly, or I would say only in the Romanian historiography, that this area, this Scythia Minor, this Dobrogea was only added to the empire by the time of Vespasian and not by the time of Claudius, when the province of Thrace was established, which, as you can see now, there are a lot of information that speak a little bit against of this idea. Obviously, that the Roman army and the Roman administration need some time to take over this area from the Thracian kingdom, but also in the south, in the area of the province of Thrace itself, one can notice that this period of transition from the structures of the kingdom of Thrace to the Roman structure were sometime they will need some time, and hold this transition period ended only by the time of Trajan. So one should not be very, I would say, disappointed to see that not instantly in 46 or 47 we have Roman structures on the field in Dobrogea, but simply that probably the former Thracian structures, and I think I already wrote of that a paper, and I think I fully succeed to demonstrate that also this area was divided into strategies of the Roman of the kingdom of Thrace. So the Romans simply, they don't need to enter like in an enemy territory, but they step by step taking over from the former Thracian administration this area. So for this reason, one should not have instantly an attestation of Roman military units directly on the ground, of Roman administration in areas like, I don't know, like Vicus Badat, Mihai Bravo, and so on. But it is clear enough for me that this Tarsa, probably, because otherwise it would have been very hard to explain, simply returned home into an area that was familiar to him, and he was probably recruited even for this area, from that area, probably from the time of Nero or something like that, because here having this, they were released from duty ante emerita stipendia, one should not expect to have 26 years of service or something like that. But the bulk of information about the settle of the veterans into this area beginning to increase only by the time of Domitian, and I put here a photo of a very interesting Roman military diploma copied after a constitution from 14th of June 92, which listed an important number of auxiliary units, 7 ale and 15 cohorts. The diploma was found in the northern part of Dobrogea, in the area of Noviodunum at Cataloi, and it is obviously that these soldiers from these former horsemen from Apamea, this Macrinus, never returned to his homeland in Apamea of Syria, but remain there together, obviously together with his sons, and this is the reason why we have this diploma there. So from 92, one should expect to have more and more of these veterans that remain in this area, and this will explain why thereafter we will have. It will be one of the explanation. Thereafter we will have in various settlements and various small vici clubs of Roman veterans together together with Roman citizens, since more and more veterans were released and they have to make a living into a province. The same it's with the year 97, which now it seems to be an year of highly importance of the releasing of Roman soldiers in the province. We had already a series of diplomas from September 97, but now we have also this one from recently published by Bernd Stedel and by Professor Eck, which, as you can see here, an important number of units, 5 ale and 9 cohorts, which attest a new governor unknown to this moment of Moesia inferior, Gaius Caristanius Fronto, and which, together with the other diplomas already mentioned, this is this one here, all of them from September, attested a large moment of releasing from duties, and one should expect to have obviously many of Cocae in the area, and that will be obviously the case with Capitava. Sorry, I put here this famous inscription of Marcus Cocceius Vitlus. It's a veteran of the cohorts Prima Ubiorum from there, a former signifer, and it is clear that bearing the name of Cocceius, he was practically one of the soldiers that received probably a military diploma in January 97 or in September 97, and remain in the area. Obviously, serving into a cohorts of Ubi, it was already pointed out that his cognomen will drive us to the Celtic area of the empire, and if we go back to this new discovered military diploma, which was in fact discovered in the lower Danubian area, not in Germania, you can see here there was a Vindelicus, so who served into an ala Atectoringiana, which of course was ala Gallorum. So again, the attestation of this Celtic origin soldiers into this moment, I would say rather early for the Roman presence in this area. It's not something that we should be astonished about. This attestation also gave us the opportunity to rethink again, and that will be also for our discussion interesting to point out, to whom or to which army the fragmentary military diploma from Salsovia, also in the northern part of Dobrogea, not far from Tulcea, from Aegisus, was given. So being discovered in Salsovia already from by the beginning of the 20th century, everybody would have said that is in fact was in fact copied after a constitution for Moesia Inferior. Thereafter, the discussion evolved a little bit, and there were a lot of supposition that he could have been from the diploma could have been from Moesia Superior or from Cappadocia. Everything belonged to the governorship of this Tiberius Iulius Candidus Marius Celsus, an important person at the beginning of the reign of Trajan. And now, following the new discovery of the diploma already mentioned, it is more than clear that one should also add here that this diploma from Salsovia in fact belonged to a former member of the army of Germania Superior. Obviously, one should expect that probably it was a Thracian or a native of the area, because otherwise it would have been very strange why from 97 he chose to come to Moesia Inferior and not to remain somewhere. It was supposed that he served in Alas Cubulorum. It's not very clear, but probably it is the best solution. But nevertheless, it is more than strange that to have a military diploma from someone serving into another corner of empire. All the other attestations that we have a little bit later, for instance, a series of diplomas from 127 from Germania Inferior and from Britannia, all of them obviously they were given to the Thracian soldiers, Thracian origin soldiers. So one should expect also this, and this again will raise again the question about this area, this territory, 25 years before 97, in 72. So it was again an area where Romans already recruited, and which obviously it will seems for someone it will seem that it is too early. But as you can see, we have now plenty of information that probably already from the time even from the time of Thracian kingdom, but obviously after 46, 47, the Romans had no problem to recruit it to raise soldiers from this corner of their empire. Another moment it's given by here. It's only to give an example. This diploma from Oltina. It's 14th of August 99. In fact, in that specific days, 3 different constitutions, and I underlined that 3 different constitutions were given for the auxiliary units of Lower Moesia, because the number of the units was so high that they could probably, it was a administrative problem in Rome. They were not able to be, and the number of the released soldiers was so high that they were not be able to be cut on the on only one bronze table. So probably they will need it more. So it was the imperial chancellery that decided to issue 3 different constitutions with 3 different lists of units, which obviously again show us that we deal with a mass release from duty. This obviously because one before in I would say in the year 70s or something like that, everyone said that this release from duty from 99 was related with Trajan preparation for the Dacian expeditions. I think that the answer it's not, I would say, totally correct. Obviously, that he will have tried to reinforce and to bring up to their strengths his units in order to that effort of war. But one should expect, because it is clear state in the text of the constitution that they were released after 25 years of service, that in fact a mass recruitment occurred in 74. We don't know exactly why, but obviously that it is really related probably with another, I would say, mass release from duty in 72, 73. Some of the soldiers that were enlisted in the year 46, 47, 48. So exactly when Ripa Thraciae became part of the Roman Empire. So the Romans needed more units to send to this eastern corner of the empire, and probably for this reason they need to reinforce, and they recruited many of them. They were released in 74, so it was already needed to bring up to strength to send the units in 74, and they were released in 99. And again in 100 and 101 we have around the year 100 we have this mass release from duty, which obviously thereafter need to be the ranks need to be filled up, and obviously that thereafter we have a series of diplomas of constitution from 125, 126, 127. So you can see sometimes because obviously that the Romans recruited on yearly base. It is not that they will have every time a huge delectus, but sometimes during important moments, or I would say at the end of the recruiting cycle or something like that, we just don't know this practice. It is, I would say, one of the very interesting topic to be followed in the following years, since now we have an important number of information brought forward by these military diplomas. So now it is possible to practically to follow step by step this practice. It seems like in specific moments large or mass recruiting occur, and these are attested by this, because obviously one should say that we are not sure, having an important number of diplomas, that obviously from the statistic point of view that would mean that many diplomas were given. But from copies from these 3 different constitutions, I think now are more than 10, which is I would say a number relatively high, which statistically speaking, it is possible that I am wrong, and it is that it will have something to do with simply with the lack of the discovery. But statistically speaking, this shows that the number of the given copies was relatively high, comparing with the numbers of given copies on the yearly basis. So one should expect that in 74 a huge delectus was being carried out both in Thrace and in Moesia, which is attested by this this release from duty from 99 and so on. And mentioning that there are a lot of copies from this constitution of 14th of August 99. This copy is from Romania, from Oltina. It is known already by the end of the 19th century. It is kept now in the National Museum of Romanian History. But recently, 2 other diplomas were found somewhere where no one should expect, at Ibida, at Slava Rusă, following the excavation carried on there by our colleague and friends Lucrețiu Mihailescu Bârliba. And one, it is, I only choose to present here one of these of them. Sorry, but another one was already published by Lucrețiu, and both of them were given to former or here in this case not former but still serving pedites of cohorts Tertia Gallorum. And it is very interesting that they were found in the area of Ibida, which show to us that also Ibida, like Ulmetrum, like the area of Mihai Bravo, in fact, before that they were be transformed into large fortress in the 4th century. That is the case the Ibida. Ibida, in fact, it's a rather huge fortress in the 4th century. They were probably also rural areas where veterans, Roman army veterans settled. And since we have already 2 copies, both belong to soldiers from the same unit, one should expect that this cohort Tertia Gallorum, we don't know exactly where, probably was settled also somewhere in the area, because otherwise it would have been very strange. Now, going from the Rome military diploma on the attestation on the field, as I mentioned, there will be some only examples from a larger body of evidence. So the Cochei are attested very well at Capitava, as you know very well. So many of them, or the history of the Cochei in Capitava started in 97, and obviously that follow by the middle and by the end probably of the 2nd century, since these 2 inscriptions, both related with the same family, could be dated more or less, I would say, after Hadrian or during the Antoninus Pius or the time of Marcus or Aurelius. So you can see that somehow the family of Cochei succeeded in establishing themselves at Capitava, and not only to establish but to build villas, as you can see here. These 2 husband and wife, they were obiti ad villam suam, and the same it is the wife of Cocceius Helius here, that it also mentioned that it's obita ad villam suam. So it seems like after the 2nd generation, they were beginning to be, I would say, important, probably people around Capitava, and it is now possible to relate them to the very beginning of the year 97. So we have now an explanation why we have such an not huge, but in fact they're the only compact attested Cochei in the province, which obviously could be related with that release from 97. Again, at Capitava, together with this attestation of Cochei, which probably were settled somewhere into the area of the military fort from there, we have this huge Roman tombstones. It's large. If you have been seeing it in the Museum of Constanza, you know what I mean. And it is attested that probably together with this vicus from the area of the cohort, we have also a larger territorium Capidavense, which is mentioned here. This person, this Gaius Julius Quadratus, among other things, was also quinquennalis territorii Capidavensis. And we have this map prepared some time ago by my friend and colleague Ioan Opriș, which showed to us that this territorium Capidavense must have been very, I would say, large, including obviously with a question mark also Ulmetrum. But this drove me at a certain moment, to this assertion of Andras Moci, who, already not knowing exactly the situation and not having all the inscription to hand, had this impression that in the area of Lower Moesia, and especially in the area of Dobrogea, we have this large territoria, this large, I would say, areas, which in fact did not belong or does not belong to the army, but they were something like between a civitas peregrina and simply a territorium without a municipal right. And starting from Moci, I developed into a paper published some years ago the idea that probably all these territoria from Dobrogea, like also Regio Histriae, like also Territorium Capidavense here, and others, are nothing else than former, or the limits of the former Thracian strategies, which has been taken over by the Romans, but obviously that they continued their living, let's say, in this way into a new condition. And for this reason, we have this specific situation here that one, and myself, I would not expect that the limits of the Vicus Militaris from Capidava, both of the cohorts Ubiorum and thereafter the cohorts Prima Germanorum, should be so extended. As I mentioned, again, it's the situation of Regio Histriae. Obviously, it's an area where Roman citizens and veterans settled. It is part, and in the same time, it is not a part of the civitas. In fact, this Regio Histriae was probably a former Thracian strategy, exactly at the frontier with the territorium of Istros. And obviously, for this reason, it is possible for people like Pompeius Valens from Anquira to settle here and not exactly in the Hora of Histria. Or exactly in this area of Regio, we have in the same time the Veterani together with Cives Romani, and obviously with the natives. The natives in the meaning that they were found here by the Romans, but probably they were planted here by the Thracian kings, or probably could be also by the Romans. I would say that probably it's not, because when the Veterani and Cives Romani came into the area of Regio Histriae, for instance, it is the case of this Vicus Quintionis, it is highly probably that they found the Bessi there. So for this reason, they choose to build together with them the community, probably building two different clubs, or maybe three different clubs. We don't know if the veterans have their own club, the Cives Romani Consistentes have their own, and also the Bessi, but all of them decided to live together into this Vicus. The same, it is the situation in Ulmetrum, as you can see here. Again, the Bessi was already probably there. So now it is clear that one should not be anymore so I would say so surprised to see that Thracian people were recruited, because from the Bessi there were many soldiers recruited from the Roman army, since the Bessi were exactly in this area of Dobrogea, and probably among of them Roman make their delectus. The same is the situation with this lie. I will only mention that to just to give an example, that there are a lot of these natives into area, together with whom Cives Romani and sometimes also the veterans build new communities. Now going to the to Vicus Bad. Since it's a fresh new material recently published by by Lucrețiu and together with Antonio Iba. As you can see, again, we have this chance that in the later Roman period, a quadribugium was built, and all the inscription, including the one mentioned, the vicus, were found exactly into the walls of this quadribugium. So we have now a clear or another clear indication that former rural settlements were transformed into the later period in area that were fortified for the needs of the army, but also for the needs of defending Scythia and for defending also the southern part of Scythia. And as I mentioned, as this area was in fact the very first line of defense of Constantinople. And it is this inscription which attests again that the settlements, these settlements together were again veterani and cives Romani were settled. And you have here some discussion on that. It's I will not enter into this. I would say really difficult because we don't have any type of information about the juridical status. I would rather say that after the moment, in fact, if we agree with the idea that this also this area of Scythia Minor was part of the Thracian kingdom and was divided into the strategy, we know very well that in fact the territory of strategy belongs directly to the king after the Hellenistic model. So it was obviously that when the Romans took over all these areas, leaving aside cities like Istria or something like that, they became obviously a part of Ager Publicus. So I would say only that all these territoria, all these vici are located on Ager Publicus, and it will be very difficult to make other type of consideration. And with this I will finish, just to give you the, I would say, the second or the third example. It's and hopefully one day the issue will be settled. It's the discussion related with this attestation of the cives Romani consistentes in Vicus Classicorum, are a series of inscriptions, as you know very well, found in Halmiris during the archaeological excavation, again reused in the later Roman fort from Halmiris, and which at the very first glance were put into connection with a possible village of the sailors exactly at Halmiris, with the idea that probably Halmiris was a station of the Roman fleet of the Classis Flavia Moesia also during the early Roman period. And it is my theory, developed some years ago into an article, that probably all these inscriptions were brought from Noviodunum, and in fact this Vicus Classicorum, where the cives Romani consistentes settle, was in fact, it's, I would say, Vicus Militaris of the Classis Flavia Moesia. This went together with this inscription found probably at Noviodunum. Are still problems relating with the exact place of discovery, but if we admit that is from the of Noviodunum, we can also think, and I try to develop or to make a case into this direction, that that in the area of Noviodunum, just like in other, like in the case, most famous case of Troesmis, which you know very well, two different settlements, two different communities develop. One is Vicus Militaris of the fleet, is this Vicus Classicorum, and the other one, it's probably also a Vicus or a former Thracian strategia, we don't know exactly, which has this name was Vicus Noviodunum. Exactly from those Vicus, this Gaius Iulius Valens was recruited in 176, and probably By the time of Marcus Aurelius and Commodus, when Troesmis also made Municipium, probably also Noviodunum became Municipium, since it is attested as such by this inscription from Dinogetia. Who lived in this Vicus Classicorum? Obviously, they were the Classici. It is, for instance, this military diploma found not far. It was found at Telița, not far from Noviodunum, and it is from 112. Exactly in that year, another member of the fleet was released from duty. I would rather say that probably because it seems like these two copies are coming from a constitution issued only for the fleet, which it is not outstanding, but this will show that maybe an important number of fleet soldiers would have been released from duty exactly in that year, so they will need it to make a constitution only for them. And if we are going back to from 112, 26 years before, we'll found ourselves in the year 86, which probably will show to us that the Classis Flavia Musica was heavily destroyed by the Dacian attacks from exactly from that year, from 85, from 86. So they were needed probably to bring up the unit to their to its former strength. Could be, but as you can see, we have people, we have information that former sailors settled at Noviodunum. And I think I will stop here with this only just to show you a wonderful sarcophagus found in the tumular graveyard of Noviodunum. Is made by this Publius Aelius Mitres, who was an Arcarius Classis, for his wife Vulpia Iulia. Obviously, that one should expect that they will live nearby the fort of the Classis into this Vicus. And since he was a Arcarius, so he was employed by the Classis as treasurer. I thank you very much for your attention.